What's good, everybody? It's your boy Big Nate. Welcome to Big Nate's Book Reviews, home of the best book reviews. And today I am telling you 7 short stories that you should read on this fine 420 day. So I got my doobie right here. It's ready to be sparked. And today we smoking this one for anyone who's smoking today on this holiday. So, okay, I'm going to light this up real quick. What do I mean by stories you should read on 420? These are not like smoking. These stories got nothing to do with weed whatsoever. Actually, one of them kind of references it, Murakami. But this is basically like, personally, if I ever smoke and I'm trying to read, short story is usually perfect because it's like it's contained enough that I can probably finish it in one sitting. I get the whole satisfaction of like seeing a story begin and end and see the whole progression of it. And then I also like when I'm smoking, I don't, this is key, it cannot be some like big word ass, some thematically rich you got to think about, you got to follow along. Hold up. You talk too much and next thing you know the doobie's out. Can't have that. Not in this show. No sir. So anyway, no big word ass shit. I mean, there's some exceptions, but I like it. I generally like it like pretty short, like and just kind of cool. Honestly, okay. So what this is mostly, honestly, and this might just be a me thing, but I think a lot of my people are out here. Yeah, you see, I got a mic. You might not think about that. I got a mic here. I just need a camera, PayPal in the description. But when I smoke and read, I like to read like kind of like weird fiction, like dark shit that's just kind of like fucked up in some way, shape, or form. Just something that's kind of like engaging, mind fuck, like whoa, crazy twist. You know, like the fun shit. You know, like the fun kind of but like dark shit. That might just be me thing, but that's what I like when I smoke. So that's basically what I'm giving you. I got the 7 short stories right here. I've done all this work for you, and we are gonna just get right into it. So up first we have Barn Burning, published or written by Haruki Murakami, published in 1992. So Barn Burning is this is one of the, I think this is one of the first things I read by Murakami, and it is, so actually just real quick, a little tidbit of information is Barn Burning is a story written by this. Let me tell you how I got into this whole thing. My homegirl Estelle, shout out Estelle. She recommended I watch this movie called Burning, and as fate would have it, it is based off of the Murakami short story Barn Burning, which is like loosely based off of the William Faulkner story Barn Burning. So there's a whole progression here. There's a whole lineage. But anyway, Barn Burning is the story of, it's kind of like this dude, right? It's just like this like narrator who's kind of like getting it in with his girl and like whatever, it's cool, it's all fun. They kind of got a fling, whatever. And then at some point, girl goes to travel, comes back like abroad with like a boyfriend, with like a new man. Oh, that was close. Oh my goodness, Doobie almost failed to be sparked, and then we'd have to shut the whole production down. But she comes back with a dude, and it's like, okay, cool, whatever. And sort of long story short, they kind of all become, I don't know if you would say friends, but they kind of all start hanging out. And there's like a specific scene, in fact, where it's the narrator and the new boyfriend. And then at some point, he's having a conversation with this dude, and something, let's just say Murakami like, is revealed, and there's like this development, and then it takes a weird turn from there. And that's, I think, going to be a theme with all these, is I can't really talk about a whole lot about the plot because like a lot of them kind of have like a twist or whatever. But yeah, some weird happens, and then the ending is very interesting, and it's left open to interpretation big time, which is fun, I think, when you smoke it and it's not like this complicated. And Murakami is a very, I think, easy writer. Like he's very like weed smoking friendly. Actually, this is the one that mentions weed. This is the one story that mentions weed, and it's funny. I don't know if this was like part of what he was going for. I don't know, honestly, but he's talking about like he's talking about grass. You know, they blowing grass, but it sounded like he's like actually describing the weed like grass, like rolling up leaves. Like, Murakami, have you seen weed, or is this like on some? Is this that new? Is this that gas? So, but anyway, so yes, that's good. And honestly, that reading that and changed my interpretation of the movie Burning, which also is very open to interpretation. But okay, yeah. So Barn Burning. Honestly, this is a good. I'm kind of starting with this one because I would basically recommend this to anybody. And Murakami's like a big writer, so if you're interested in him or you liked his stuff before, you should definitely check out this short story. So anyway, Barn Burning, Murakami, check that one out. Up next, we have The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Gilman. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Charlotte Gilman. Published not in 1992, but 1892. She 1800 old head. We got a couple of them on the channel. And this is basically the story. This is like a really classic story. If you've read this, honestly, I encourage you to read it again because I reread it today. I read it like a long time ago, and it's creepy. And that words, I won't even get into it. But if you read it, it's like, this is basically about this like woman who is sort of more or less locked in, not locked, but like up in this room because she is suffering from some sort of something. It seems like depression or some sort of, yeah, some sort of like depressive episode or something. But and this is a big thing too related to like feminism because I think if I'm not mistaken, the yellow wall, she's like kind of an example of how a lot of times people back in the day would just like write all of women's problems off as like depressive or hysterics or things like that, and they almost refused. Like this was back in the day where it's like, oh, just depression is not real. Like there's nothing actually wrong with you. You just like need to stop being sad. That kind of deal. Blah blah blah. And there's a bunch of feminists over blah 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 blah. But anyway, the story is basically like she's just like sort of locked in this room with no stimulus, and this wallpaper kind of starts getting. First off, room is weird. First off, the room is weird, where it's like the windows are barred. This is like apparently this was like used to be a nursery or something. Like so, the windows are barred. There's like scratches kind of all up on the wallpaper, especially around like the head of the bed. And so it just kind of starts off a little funky, a little off. And then even the narrator, she has these weird little moments where she's just kind of seems like she kind of is like tripping, you know. So she's kind of bugging on some weird like kind of go. Good thing I'm not actually going crazy. Like that was not a good example, but like anyway, she's posted up in this room for like a long time, and eventually the wallpaper just completely engrosses her, and she's not sleeping at night. She's just watching the wallpaper. She has like no appetite, and it's like this ugly yellow wallpaper, and she kind of starts eventually like seeing things kind of in the wallpaper, just like the design or whatever. She'll follow it, and then at one point she like this was kind of the turning point of the story for me, where she like kind of sees like people trying to get out of the wallpaper, but every time the wallpaper, it like the design looked like it would catch them, and there was like a upside down head with bulging eyes. Because what Charlotte Gilman does really well is she's so like it starts off kind of normal. It's like, okay, she's just like whatever, she's bored, she's looking at the wallpaper, and then like by the end she just sort of like really gradually like slips into madness, and then by the end she is straight crazy. She is straight crazy. And my girl actually read a whole book of short stories by Charlotte Gilman. I think she liked all of them, so I should check her out, because the yellow wallpaper I thought was really really well written. It's like medium length. By the way, I would say Barn Burning is like short to medium. There's kind of a lot of pages, but there's a lot of dialogue, and it's like double spaced. At least the one I'm gonna link in the description. All these are gonna have links in the description. Yellow Wallpaper is she 1800 old head, like I said, and it is like a little like medium ish length plus, but at the same time it is like high payoff. I think this is one of the best. I think it's one of the best short stories out of the whole bunch. So and it's just a classic. There's the boy. Up next, The Decapitated Chicken by Horacio. Fuck. Up next is The Decapitated Chicken by Horacio Quiroga, and this one is fucked up. Okay, so this one's pretty short and like I feel like pretty easy to read. Some there might be some kind of translation stuff too. And I've always found like Spanish literature a lot of times sometimes it's like kind of hard, like in this weird way. Sometimes it's a little like Marquez. I've read actually a good amount of Marquez, but for some reason anyway. This one I recommend, especially if you want some. This one is more like horror. I would say like horror lit kind of stuff, and it's fucked up. It's crazy. So okay, the premise is first off, okay, there's just like a couple, right? There's like a husband and a wife, and they have a kid, and the kid's fine until like a certain like around like 2 years old, and then he gets hit with convulsions. And then he becomes basically brain dead, like mentally impaired. He's completely like non-functional. You know what I mean? He can like he's still breathing, but like there's no intelligence. There's no nothing. Like you know what I'm saying? In the story, he basically calls them like idiots, and they're just like drowning in their idiocy kind of thing. But okay, and I say they because then they have another kid, and then the kid is good, laughing, beaming, great kid until like again around like 2 years old or something. Convulsions, and then same thing, and then end of the day, and they have a set of twins after, same thing. So basically they have these four like sort of I don't know how to, like, idiot sons, that's like what he says. And yes, they're just sort of like first off, even this is sort of not grotesque, but yeah, kind of grotesque, where it's like their tongues are just lolling out. They're not really kept clean. They're like drooling, like their pants are wet because they're like drooling on themselves, just like fumbling around, like laughing like beasts, like bestial laugh, like, just like that shit. Sorry if that was fucked up, but long story short, they end up having another kid, and they have it's a girl, it's like a daughter, and yeah, all good. It makes it past, or she makes it past the like convulsion stage or whatever, like when they would normally. So she's a little spoiled and everything, but yeah, so the story ends quite climactically. Let's see how to put this. Let's just say like the sons. It's the book. Okay, the story is called the decapitated chicken. The sons like watch one of like the servants or whatever decapitate a chicken, and then let's just say things get weird and dark and fucked up from there pretty quick. So yeah, I actually really recommend this one too, especially if if you want to look at some translator literature like this is. I think I want to say he's Argentinian, but don't hold me to that. And but if you're interested in like the horror side of things, and I did think this one, like I got chills, like damn, that is fucked up. So if you're into that stuff, do the Decapitated Chicken. Also, that was published 2009. So I wonder if Horacio Quiroga is still active, because it's anyway. Up next is The Picture in the House by HP. Oh wait, did I say? Oh yeah, it's pretty. This is shorter than those other two, definitely, and it's pretty easy to understand. Like it's not like high leg style, or that is like especially if you want like a quicker one, I would go with like quick but good bang for your buck. I would go with the Decapitated Chicken. So up next is The Picture in the House by HP Lovecraft. So H.P. Lovecraft, an old head. So I think he published this. Actually, I think it was in it was either 1820 or 1920. Pretty sure 1920. But I read this for a class like a long time ago, and I remember it really fucking me up. And just yeah, and I personally did. We'll see if other people react that same way, but it did for me. And it's also a relatively short read. Okay, real quick. The thing about Lovecraft is I hate his writing, to be honest with you. I hate his writing. I think he uses the biggest words possible when it doesn't even make sense. And he comes in like he uses as many words as possible to say whatever it is he's trying to say. But and this is a pretty short one. And it starts out basically there's like the narrator. It's actually told first person. And he is doing some research kind of out in like the backwoods for some collecting genealogical data on some whatever weird shit. And basically at some point it is like pouring rain, and he's like traveling on his bike, and there is this sort of weird, I don't know if you'd say village, but because town is too big of like some almost like a settlement, like this ancient settlement. It seems like he sort of comes in and there's like nobody around, but like the windows aren't broken, things like look like they're kind of like not destroyed. So he knocks on the door to try and get in. I think it was like backwoods New England, something like that. And he has a whole little thing in the intro before he even talks about characters or anything, just saying like there are like something about like secrets that lurk deep in the woods. Like this is where like the weirdest shit kind of happens, is these things close off from society, whatever. And yeah, so he like knocks on the door. Nobody answers, and he opens the door and it's like open. So he's like, okay, I'm just gonna like kind of post up here. And he's chilling, and then sort of looking through the house, and it's like truly ancient. Like there's no sign of anything modern at all. I think he says like post-revolution, something like that. And then let's see how to put this. See, I'm gonna have this problem every time, like how to describe it without describing it. So it turns out there is someone there, and he comes down, and they have a chat. And then let's say they have a chat, and the dude, like you soon realize, is weird. Some is like deeply off with him, but you couldn't really tell at first, and it happens very subtly, and it comes quick. And yeah, it's a wild one. It might be one of my favorite of his short stories, but yeah. And honestly, there's some problematic stuff in that. You'll but whatever. You take it for what it is. But up next is Beyond the Wub by Philip K. Dick. I'm gonna go through this one quickly because it's a pretty short one. I would say short to like medium. There's a lot of dialogue. Anyway, it's like this is more sci-fi. It's Philip K. Dick, so it's gonna be sci-fi. They're on the ship and they're collecting a whole like menagerie kind of thing of intergalactic animals or some shit like that. And one of the things this guy got from a native for like 50 cents is like this big, fat, ugly, lazy looking 400-pound pig type thing called a wub. And everyone's like, what the fuck is that? And then the captain is like, yo, we're finna eat this shit. Yeah. And then the wub speaks. Like the wub is like, wait, hold up, what's up? And him and the wub, first off, it's funny because he's like, here, step into my office after, and they kind of have a conversation. Long story short, let's see, how do I put this? I won't even say the rest. Let's just say like the captain wants to eat the wub, and it's just something really cool. This is kind of hard to like talk about these because so much of the things is something that honestly that's like a theme with. Oh fuck, that was hot. Something happens like at the end of the story, something really crazy and big happens. So anyway, that was a good one. That's more of like a fun one too. And if you like old, sort of like almost like retro, I don't know if I'd say retro, but like old classic sci-fi, then I would check that one out. So up next is A Drowning Incident, and this one is really short. This one is like not even 3 pages type deal, and it's by Cormac McCarthy, published in, I don't know, but I think he wrote it was when he was an undergrad. I couldn't find the published date for the life of me, but he writes this story called A Drowning Incident. It's like this dude who's just kind of, it's like a chill sort of like weekend vibe. It's a nice day. He kind of goes out back. He's just kind of exploring around. It's nice and idyllic out. He's just doing his thing. Long story short, some kind of like washes up on the lake, and he finds this thing that washed up on the lake, and it is not chill at all. It is not chill, and something in him just kind of snap. You can feel the tone of the story change too, but something in him snaps, and then he does this really interesting thing kind of at the end too. But this one was crazy. So it's short, but it is Cormac McCarthy, so to be honest, it can be kind of hard to read, but I think in a really rewarding way. So if you're feeling that one, I would check it out. And you read it and it's nonchalant too, like in the same paragraph. You have to double take, be like, did I just read that? So anyway, A Drowning Incident, Cormac McCarthy, check this one out. Okay, and now I've left actually something that's kind of related in an interesting way. But the last story is called Puppy by George Saunders, published in 2017. And this one, honestly, this is what I think is my this is like my top recommendation to anybody who if you're going to take anything from this, personally, I would recommend you read Puppy by George Saunders. So this story is about, it's like this mom who is picking with her kids. She's going to pick up a puppy. They're getting a puppy for the family. Okay, cool. But I mean, from the get-go, the mom is just sort of, she's kind of weird, not like weird, but you get these little hints of she had like a very traumatic, like neglectful childhood. Like she drops this little thing where she was like locked in a closet for a little bit, and that there's a bunch of other little sort of like gems like that, just implying, okay, so not good things happen to her. And so she's kind of like overcompensating it as a mother herself, because she's like this happy-go-lucky, overly positive, like high energy mom, but like to a fault, where it's like kind of she's bringing it on a little too hard. She's like, oh, this is great, this is perfect, this is awesome. Like, I don't know, hard to explain, but he does a really good job of that. But whatever, she's cool. And then it switches, they're going to pick up this puppy, and then it goes to the other person who is also a mom, who is selling the puppy. And okay, yeah, now this is where it gets crazy, and we gotta start. She has this sort of son who is potentially like kind of dangerous, not like he's out of control, and she wants him. She's like giving away this puppy for a very like interesting reason, which leads to another character who has each one of these characters have some whole set of like little weird quirks, or it's just like things they say, little moves they make, just like how they're acting. It's just like George Saunders is a very subtle writer, very subtly gives something sort of like deeply wrong about them. It gives that away, or not wrong about them, but there's something lurking dark beneath. And then the ending of this, like let's just say they don't get the puppy. I've kind of gone longer than I planned on going, so all of those, check them out. I'll leave links in the description for everything, and I hope everybody is having a good 420.